Yeah, no, we're really excited. Yeah, to start off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Yugajan. So good to see you. I think we were just sharing how we feel so blessed to be able to speak to you. So you're a man on a mission to change lives of people that have faced racism, and you're an entrepreneur. You're an educator and a PhD researcher, and with all of that, like there's just so much that we'd love to dive into, to know you more.
Okay.
I guess to start off with, what is something that, could you tell us, being the educator, the entrepreneur, the PhD researcher, how do you balance it all?
Okay. Honestly, Mridula, if you ask me this question like 6 months ago, I will be, stuttering to answer because I'm just, trying to find the way to go through. But it was not until few months ago when I follow a course on Mind Valley, which is called Being Indestructible by Nir Eyal. So this is where she introduced a timetable called time boxing. Time boxing where you box your time into 24 boxes in a day, and in there you put in your most activities that or things which I'm passionate about. So for example, in my time box, I have a slot for my rest period. I have slot for my studying period. I have slot for until recently I doing the module for JSCS, doing for coaching. So I make sure I have the slot, designated slot, and during that slot I'll be fully focused, and I'll make sure there's no any distraction during that slot. That slot is purely for that single activity. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I've tried it. I don't know. Have you guys tried it? I didn't stick with me quite yet, but I just wanted to know, ladies, have you tried this as well or no?
I've tried it. I can't do the 24 hours of it, to be 100% honest. And my focus is nowhere as intent as Yuvarajan's. So that's going to be a question for Yuva is, Yuva, can you tell us a little bit about what you value and how, because you're able to do so much. This time boxing is really, I feel, restrictive for someone like me. What is something you value and why do you value that so deeply?
Well, honestly, I value two things, time and energy. And I think these two goes well together. I think all of you have listened to one of Jay Genius session, where he mentioned about time. People often confuse between time and energy. So for example, if I'm spending like 1 hour with you guys, they're not expecting the time. They're expecting I to be present here with my energy for full 1 hour. So some people, they say, we can talk for 1 hour, but then after half an hour, they'll be looking at the phone. They'll be looking elsewhere. So although they are there for 1 hour, but energy-wise, they are not there. So this is where people have to see the connection between time and energy. I find it's very important.
Yeah, I think there's just so much we can continue to learn from you.
Yeah.
Teacher.
Yeah.
But for everyone who's watching, I don't think we've asked you that yet. I mean, Mridula mentioned that you're an educator, that you're an entrepreneur, and that you're a PhD researcher. But and you mentioned your mission. But how is it that you are going about achieving this mission, and how are you spreading the message?
Well, part of it, part of it is getting through the course on JSCS, because honestly, Kristina, until the age of 32, I was not really sure what I want to do in my life. Well, I become a teacher, I did masters, and I'm doing PhD, but I'm not pretty sure. I was not really concise on what I want to do in life. Then suddenly, Jay Shetty come up with this school called JSCS. From the very word go, I was saying, okay, I want to go in, I want to be in. But then I have to postpone my desire to enter JSCS up by 18 months because due to financial constraint. And so for the entire 18 months, I started saving money like a bird, save every penny that I have. And by May, I was ready. I was saying, I just pay the pay the whole thing, and I just join in. So, and I think honestly, the 18-month wait was worth the wait, because when I entered the school, it was like a mind-opening, mind-boggling experience. Like I learned about, what's the coach about, what's the role of a coach, the Capron triangle, all those things. So all these things, like, kind of like liberated me from my rather mundane and routine lifestyle. So that's when I noticed my passion. That's where I can hear a sudden thought in my heart. It's like, okay, this is my purpose in life, to serve people through coaching. So and then also to answer the question about how do I come up with this purpose towards against racism, because I have been a victim of discrimination myself. So growing up in Malaysia, I think especially for an Indian growing up in Malaysia, I think we and discrimination are not separable. We can be separated. Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, if that's okay, like the story and your experiences.
Okay. All right. Well, Kristina, I try my best to be apolitical because I don't want to be in trouble. So I will try to be, try to explain as best I can. Well, honestly, my childhood was pretty awesome. Well, I'm the second kid in the family. I have another brother. My brother is also in Australia right now. He's working as a doctor there. So I'm the second child, and childhood was awesome. Like, I've been a top student in school, all those, being excel in exams, academically. But right to the age of 17, that's where I noticed I start to feel unjust. Even then, the word discrimination didn't register in my mind. So the thing was, was during public examination. So in Malaysia, at the age of 17, you have to undergo one final public examination before you enter into university, college, or working life. We call it SPM here. So so for one particular subject, which is called English for Science and Technology, well, the subject wise is English, but it's even easier than the actual English paper. So I was pretty confident I will ace the paper.
Yeah.
So but then when I received the result, I get a very disappointing grade. Because like I think Brooke, Kristina, and Mridula, I think when you have done something, you can roughly know, okay, I will get this. You can expect what you will get because you have done it, you've been through it. So similar for me, when I've done the exam, I was pretty confident I will ace the paper. But they gave me, I think, a B, which is like disappointing. And when I tried to recheck my grades, they refused to give me an A. They still retain my grade to B. So only then, few years later, only then that I know that was just one kind of discrimination that I faced in school. In school, they are talking in schools. So that was the first bout of it. And then after that, further on, going to college, going to teaching, and being the only 2 Indian students in my teaching college, like, and I mean, like for me, I get isolated for being who I am, and me thinking differently from others doesn't help as well. So due to that, I get isolated. So I have many stories to tell.
And in regards to that story, I'm so sorry, girls, that I'm like getting more questions.
No worries.
But I'm just super interested. With that story, specifically with the grade, I love how you mentioned getting a B, and it was so disappointing. I understand that you always strive for excellence. That's awesome. But in that communication with the teacher, when you were trying to get your grade changed, what was that interaction like? How did you understand that this was discrimination against you and not anything to do with your academics?
Well, Kristina, it's not actually talking to the teacher. You're talking to the ministry, because this is a public examination.
Right.
So if you want to recheck your grade, you have to talk to the a certain exam syndicate of the Ministry of Education. So that's where I did a payment. I said, you know what, I don't think my grade is correct. So I did a payment and I wait for result. After result come out, I still didn't get an A, and they gave me a B. So that's when I realized, I feel discriminated. And what's made even worse, there's one classmate of mine of one particular race. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say which race. She can't speak a word of English. on she can't speak word English, but she never get an A for the paper, but for that exam she get an A for the paper. So that's when I say, okay, something fishy here. But yeah, it is what it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yuva. Look, thank you for being so open and sharing these experiences with you. And I really want to acknowledge that it takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. And thank you for sharing that, because I know there's so many people out there that would benefit from knowing that this exists and would feel heard in some way from hearing what you've just spoken about your story. Keeping in mind what you've gone through and what you've experienced, and now that you're in this space where you'd like to give back, what are some of your big goals for your mission?
Okay, so mainly I just wanted to be a coach, which I wish I had many years ago, during my dark years, So yeah, I mean, that story, I kind of like, to going back to the story which I explained earlier, I experienced further discrimination throughout my college training and even during working life. Like, the discrimination is still there, because like, just because you're a minority, they can just, they can feel like they can just step on your feet and stamp, okay, this is what you must do and blah, 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 all this thing. So yeah, so going back to your question, I'll say I just want to be a coach, which I wish I had many years ago, those years ago, like, to guide me throughout the dark ages and say, you know what, other people's opinion does not define you. You define you. I wish I heard this. I wish I heard this quote many years ago. Yeah. So let's say if I could just take a time machine, go back to the past and say to my old Yuva, I say, Yuva, whatever external opinion doesn't define you. You define you. You design your own life.
And so powerful. This is so powerful. Yeah.
I was going to say, I really appreciate that thought that you define you. And it sounds so simplistic, but it can be so tricky. And as an educator and a researcher, you're doing that every day with your students. So I acknowledge you for that role that you play in the field of education. As a fellow educator myself, out of curiosity, what would you like to see changed in education?
Well, as an educator myself, firstly, I would like to see a change in the system, in the very system, because if you see, Brooke, like, even for example, a very obvious thing, the arrangement of chairs, like, the chairs and desks the arrangement have not changed much since the Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution, which is about 300, 400 years ago. And we are still sitting, in twos or in threes or in a long. So all that need to change. We need to take into consideration the mental condition of the children. Their confidence level, their emotional level, their level of goshness of the knowledge that they're learning. So we need to take into consideration all that. So we have to make it more student-centric.
Yeah, I love that thought, that idea of student-centric education. I think of Jim Quick, I think of Seth Godin, I think of authors and researchers who are talking about how the education system does need to change. And I applaud you with your research and your study in this field to be a part of that change for Malaysia. It's exciting.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. It's just so interesting. I have like a million questions for you about you as a teacher, about all your experiences, interactions. But if we were to go back to your mission and that you're working on every day, spreading it everywhere, what are some of the big goals in regards to that mission?
Okay, big goals. Okay, so initially, like, first of all, Kristina, like, many people who are being discriminated, they do not realize they are being discriminated. They did not know that they are in the circle, in the circle of discrimination. So mainly the very first goal for me is to make them aware they are being discriminated, because I believe everything starts with awareness. Even in JSCS, like, we have the ABCs, the very first A is awareness, right? So we have to make the person aware. Okay, you are not, this is not right. You are being discriminated. So we have to let them aware first. So once you are aware that you're being discriminated, then we can, discuss the issue. Then we can come to how we can overcome the issue. So yes, first thing is awareness, and secondly, like once you're aware, the mindset needs to be transformed. So Kristina, when people are being discriminated, they feel stuck. They feel that they're back against the wall. They can't move. They are basically like very mechanical, close to a robot. So they are thinking, what, like I'm stuck. I can't do anything. I just be a sheep. Just follow the flock. So this is where the coach or the person need to undergo the mindset transformation from a victim to a victor. So that's why I highlighted in my coaching niche, to serve the victim of discrimination by transforming your mindset from a victim mindset to a victor mindset. Yes.
That's so beautiful and so powerful and so clear. I love this for you. I love how you're so specific about who you want to help and what exactly it is you want to help them with and how you're going to do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, as you were speaking of it, like I can, on some level, identify with, when you brought up discrimination. Look, being an Indian myself, being in a foreign country, it's so true. The awareness and also not kind of, I guess I could also identify so much when you said about just being mechanical. Or I guess in my case, it turned up in a case where it's like, look, I know it's going to exist, so I need to work 10 times harder than the people that live in this country, for example. So it's just amazing. So beautiful how you articulated that, starting from awareness through to, then changing the mindset. And also just like you said earlier on, going back in the time machine, telling yourself that, hey, you've just got to be yourself, and who you are is it, like you don't need to dumb yourself down. You don't want to like, so beautiful, really.
Thank you so much.
It's just amazing. Okay, so I'm really curious on your work in your PhD research, because that's another aspect of what you're doing. What is it what are you researching and how are you bringing that into the world?
Okay, thank you for asking that, Mridula. Well, obviously, I can't say it excludes in full because it's still in work in progress, because I do not want other people to steal my research topic. Of course. Okay, joke aside. Well, no one is going to steal this topic, but basically I can say I'll be combining 3 different theories for my research, which is because like my specialization is on educational management. So I'll be focusing one on transformation leadership. Secondly, will be on growth mindset, because I've been hooked on the concept of growth mindset ever since I got the book by Carol Dweck, Mindset. I love it, and I just want to put it in my research theory. And then the third theory will be change management. So basically, it's like I just want to see whether growth mindset has a role to play between transformational leadership and also growth change management, and how they're managing change. So that's my research about.
Yeah, lovely. I love how you've linked these, and thank you for sharing. I'm just not doing any research myself. I didn't appreciate the confidentiality side of things. So thank you for
Thank you. And honestly, I'm looking forward to end this by next year, because it has been pending for the past 3 years. And I just want to share a little secret if you don't mind, a little story. Well, I started my PhD back in 2018, and I'm doing a mixed mode doctorate, so which means that you need to complete a certain courses and exams and assignment, and then you are eligible to start your thesis. So I completed my courses by the year 2020, and only in mid 2020 I started my thesis work. And and for some time during the year between May and October, I put that on hold because I need to focus on JSCS. And thankfully, JSCS is over. I just got graduated last week, and so now I can just turn back my focus into completing my doctorate. So
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations on your JSCS qualification.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm going to be really selfish now because I'm really curious. What is one of your favorite books you've read this year, and what was something you learned from it?
It's interesting because I've read a few books this year. The favorite, can I say just a few and not just one?
Sure. Tell us about your favorites.
Okay, so firstly, I'll say the book, The Buddha and the Badass by Vishen Lakiani. Apart from author being a Malaysian as well, because Vishen Lakiani is actually Malaysian, but now staying in Estonia. Because I find the content is truly amazing. Because when you read the book, it's not a normal reading. You have to read chapter by chapter. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 to find the full gist of the book. But Vishen have written in the book in a way that, if you're looking for this thing, just go to this chapter. If you're looking for another thing, just go to this chapter. So basically, it can go either way, So that is why I like the book, and partly because one of the very first chapter where there's a thing called dream setting activity where from you list down all the values they have done, all the activities, all the important highlights in your life, and you write out the value, and from there you come up to the few founding values. So these founding values is very important because this is from, especially if you're going to start your own business, you have to be clear between founding values and the organization values. So when your founding values is strong, then organization values will follow to your founding values. So that's why I love this book. So that's from Buddha and the Badass. And the second one, I think I have a book here. I just got it. Sorry. Oops, sorry, I just disconnect my mic. So this book over here, a brand new book by Robin Sharma, The Everyday Hero Manifesto, which just released last September. Yeah, I like this book because I've been following this Robin Sharma ever since from the the monk who sold his Ferrari, and this is the latest book, and I like his content, and in this book, he make it in a way that every chapter is about 2 to 3 pages only, so it's quite a light reading, so you can read it over a weekend. So yeah, so I think I'll say these 2 books. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's definitely something the audience, go out and buy books, read as much as you can. So thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
That filled my cup today.
Oh, I love this. I know that Brooke asked you about, your favorite book because she loves to read and we all love to read. So thanks, Brooke, for the question, first of all. But I wanted to ask you actually about your biggest learning from the Jay Shetty School and how it has transformed your life, if it has.
Wow. Well, honestly, Kristina, I had many aha moments during this JSCS journey, and honestly, being JSCS is a school which I don't want to graduate from. But I have to graduate, but honestly, I don't feel like actually in school, because there are just so many things you can learn in school, not just to the modules, not just from supervisor, but being in the network of coaches. I believe JSCS for me is like my global family, because there's a verse called in Sanskrit called Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, which means the world is my family. So I feel it. I can feel it's truly. I feel it's truly true here, for where the JSCS is my global family. Yep. And going back to your question, one of the valuable lessons which I learned is being authentic. Being authentic, being the real you. No, do not try to copy others, because yes, of course you have the convention of being a coach, the ABC, the framework, the code of ethics, but eventually, fundamentally comes down to being the real you, because you are there's only one you. There's only one you. There's no only 2 or 3 of you. So embrace the uniqueness, and then you apply it in your coaching, and then and at the same time serve the community, serve the world. That's the one thing I learned through JSCS.
I love how this is very connected to your mission that you're trying to spread and the message. So it's pretty much at the core of it, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question from me. I'm sorry, ladies, but I can't not ask.
Sure.
Because I've just been thinking as you were talking about your journey and how when you were 17, these experiences opened your eyes to what was happening to you that you didn't know. Yeah. So over the past years, since that time until now, it's been many years, right? What would you say was some of the changes in Malaysia in regards to this issue, if there were any at all? Like, what do you see happening right now?
Well, Kristina, that's a very good question you asked. Honestly, there have been some changes, but not to my liking, honestly, because they have still some elements of racism. Like, for example, like for me as an Indian, like if I want to get a job, for example, every other job, I mean, even for a simple lecturing job, for example, especially in private sector, they put in another bonus requirement: speak Mandarin. Although the job is like speaking English, but they just simply speak Mandarin because they know they're pretty sure that many people do not speak Mandarin, so they'll be automatically be disqualified. so that's only one part. Then another part, even getting a rental in Malaysia is quite difficult, especially for Indian, because they see okay, even though we have the paycheck, we have all the qualification check, but when it come to are you Indian? They say, yeah, and if I say yes, they say, oh, okay, oh, sorry, we don't rent to Indians, because there's a stereotype, like Indians are drunkard, they stink, they're smelly, so yeah, all those things. Yeah, so it's quite, in short, it's quite hard being an Indian in Malaysia, but I'm just living through it. Yeah, we are surviving.
This is heartbreaking to hear, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry that you have to go through that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just empowering that you want to change victim to victor, and that you have this within you that you want to, like obviously with the Malaysian structures and systems, and you've said that you want to like that's something ideally you would like to change, is systemic change. But it's just what you're doing to get there. I think makes it even more, I guess, inspirational, because here in Australia, we don't have that type of racism. So we're very blessed in that sense. And I just think, well, what you're doing and standing up above that, I think of Nelson Mandela, I think of the Mother Teresa's, I think of the people that had to take the first step to create change. Yeah. And I just think, well, Weaver, that's such an inspiration. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And those children will thank you. Those students that you educate.
Yeah. Thank you, Brooke. Because so through my coaching, because like in order to have a total change in to go again, to stop this racism thing, I think you need a government for that. And honestly, I'm not a government. I'm just an average Joe. I'm just a single person. So what I can do through my coaching service is, like to embed in themselves, as I said earlier, not to be influenced by the external voices. I mean, like, listen to your inner voice, listen to your inner voice, and embed in themselves like the grit, the strength to overcome this external voices, and listen to your inner voice, because that was matter in the end. So hopefully through my coaching service, I will try to embed the grit in this victim of discrimination, so that they will not fall victim anymore, and they can come out of the victim mindset and towards a victor mindset. Yeah.
I just picture the phoenix, and I just picture you rise from those ashes.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me that imagery.
Thank you so much.
Can I just ask you one more thing?
Sure.
If that's okay.
Okay.
Super interesting. I know you've mentioned the government bodies and people in authority who have the sort of influence over your life. But what about the community and people that surround you, and how do they react to the message that you're spreading, and what is happening right now with what you're doing?
It's a very interesting question you ask, Kristina, because discrimination doesn't only happen between different races. Even within the same race, we have discrimination. So, for example, for me, my mother tongue is Tamil, okay, but I can understand Tamil, but I find it hard to converse in Tamil. So even through that, people start to, even during my during college days, I get mocked for that. I get being discriminated for that. So yeah, so I just want to say that my message has been mixed reaction, because some they take it, but some they say they don't, they disregard my achievements, my capabilities. So yeah, I'll say mixed reaction. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
But you're going to keep rising like that phoenix. So I just have that victim to victor, and that rising of the phoenix. Out of curiosity, can you tell us a little bit about one of the first things you would like to do now that you are a graduate of the JSCS?
Yeah. Thank you, Brooke. Well, the first thing I'd like to do, is producing content to promote anti-discrimination, because you need to understand, Brooke, discrimination. What's the root of discrimination? Ignorance. Like you refuse, either you don't know or refuse to know about other people other from you. So I'll say ignorance. So what's the best way to overcome ignorance? Education. You educate them. So for example, maybe a certain race want to know race A, want to know about race B. They don't listen about the adult. They don't listen to the corrupted media and so on. They will ask someone from race B about their lifestyle, their ritual, their tradition. So I believe going forward, it's not tolerance. It's not tolerance. You have to completely understand other people. So I think that's the first step, to overcome racism, is to educate, to combat ignorance through education. So that's my first plan, to produce content promoting anti-discrimination. And beside that, my second step will be, to collaborate with various minority right movement, like Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, Me Too movement, and just collaborate them and just promote this thing, saying that discrimination is wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, Yuvraj. So powerful in your vision, in your next steps, and I couldn't agree more. Like, education and awareness raising is what we need, right? Like, yeah, beautiful, really amazing. Mindful of time, and thank you so much. Like, you've been really generous with us, and given us some amazing. So as closing thoughts, we all were just so curious about, what do you do in your downtime, and what are some of the things that you love to do to unwind?
Okay. For me, unwinding, well, I'm not sure, Mridula, if you know A.R. Rahman.
Of course I do. I can't not know him.
Silly question.
I love his music.
Yeah, silly question. So so for me, my favorite unwinding method, I listen to A.R. Rahman, especially the 90s songs. I mean, I think those era are just magical, just wonderful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the songs now are quite good, but I prefer the 90s because it's something nostalgic, something beautiful. So yeah, that's my favorite chill out moment. And beside that, I do yoga to wind down, to balance, to energy balancing, all that, and I do meditation so I can remain focused on my job. And most of all, just want to engage in deep conversation with like-minded people, because I find that, because you see, human beings are essentially social creatures. We are built. Our DNA is built to connect with each other. So if you engage in a wonderful conversation, into deep conversation, in a way you get, recharge. Your energy get recharged. So yeah, all those things.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna throw to something and say, because I can see all of those medallions near you. So there's something else that you do with your time, Yuva. What is it?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, those medals, like those were dated back before pandemic. Well, I'm a runner actually. I'm a runner, but I'm not really a sprint runner. I'm more like a, marathon runner. I run half marathon, 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers, and so far up to date, I only done one full marathon. I can say I survived it.
Don't downplay the one. I remember when I ran it, my body for like a couple of weeks had to take time to recharge. So don't downplay it.
No.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the one thing I missed, because due to pandemic, all these things are being cancelled. So I'm just waiting the next run. I'm just waiting, to wear my running boots again.
Let us know when you do it. When the borders open, I'll come for a run.
Okay, awesome. Like it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I'm gonna connect with you on the ARM song soon.
Nice.
All right. No, it was so wonderful to talk to you. Really appreciate. Love your mission, and we're all rooting for you. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For your time.
Yeah, thank you, Mridula. Thank you, Kristina, and thank you, Brooke. Thank you for inviting me for this interview. And yeah, I'm truly blessed to be here. And I just wish that the Link project will be more people will hear about you. And yeah, just wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.